I am back. I finally have the time to make a YouTube video. This is because I am currently on my semester break. I am sorry for disappearing for a year plus. But I'm back now. So today I will be talking about some last minute study tips that has helped me answer my finals in my recent semester test. Without further ado, let's get to it. Tip number 1, as I have frequently mentioned in my past video and also a lot of my TikTok contents, practice past year papers. Now I know you're probably thinking, I want to study last minute. I haven't covered a lot of chapters. How am I supposed to do past year papers? Well, this is what we call killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As you are doing your past year paper, you also study. Now this is what I mean. Sometimes when you are like 3 days away from your exam, you do not have the time to start opening a whole new chapter that you've never absorbed before. So what you're going to do is that you're going to take a bunch of past year papers, and as you are doing your past year papers, you're also referring to your book, your notes, your slides, and for each question that you are answering, make sure that you mark, oh, this is chapter 1, this is chapter 4. This is what we call breaking down information. In case you ever come across that same question again in your next few practices or in the real examination itself, you can remember, oh wait, this question relates to this chapter talks about this talks about this. So basically your brain will try to remember, wait, this question is from this chapter, what did we learn in this chapter? Oh, this chapter talked about these few things. It will trigger your brain to remember what you have learned in a chapter. But in your practices, if you don't mark your chapters, it's going to be a bit hard for your brain to remember this question is from which chapter, and then your brain has to scroll through every single memory that you have learned, and your brain needs to scroll through all the unorganized memory that you have. No, we do not want that. Another thing that I love about past year papers is that you can understand and learn the format. Sometimes past year papers, they do not have a direct answer to it. It requires critical thinking. So for questions like that, please, I'm telling you, refer to your lecturers, refer to your teachers. They have experience in creating examination questions. They know the format. They know what can help you. They will give you feedback. So always be in contact with your lecturers and teachers. Another thing, please do take note of repeated questions. The 2 things that you have to take note of when you are practicing past year papers is that you take note of repeated questions and you take note of questions that barely come up or have not yet come up. The most frequent questions that are going to come up will most likely be in the real examination paper, and the chapters that never came up before or barely came up before in the previous past year papers might be the topic that is targeted next. Study tip number 2, separate your notes. Now what I mean is that if you have a subject which involves calculation or diagrams, you separate your notes. You separate one note with theory and the other notes would be diagrams and calculations and formulas. However, if it is something like math, what I do for maths and add maths is that I have notes which shows like a bunch of working out. For example, I take one question from each topic and I will do the working out so that I will remember, oh, this is how you do this question. Whereas the other set of notes would be just a formula. Chapter 1, volume of Q, volume of blah blah blah, volume of this. Chapter 2, area of blah blah blah, area of this, area of that. It's just the formula. Like I said, break down information, separate the information, make it easy for your brain to absorb. However, if you're in college, you would learn something like, in my case, my recent semester, we had this one subject called Fundamentals of Operating System. We had to learn a lot about theory. At the same time, we had a lot of calculations too. We had to draw a bunch of diagrams. So I separated that into one set of note, and the theory part where I have to remember the function of a computer, the function of monitors and all of that, I separated into one set of notes. That has helped me cover a lot. In my opinion, calculations and diagrams are much easier because that is the one that gives a lot of marks. Tip number 3, teach your friends. By teaching your friends, you're able to understand your strengths and weaknesses. This is what I mean. As you are teaching your friends, it helps you to visualize and understand what you have learned. That is what I meant by analyzing your strength. On the other hand, you can analyze your weaknesses when your friends start to ask you questions. Like for example, why is it this? How do you do this? And probably you will come up to a point where you're like, wait, I actually don't know how to do this. Wait, I haven't studied this part that much yet. That is how you figure out your weaknesses. That is how you fill in the missing puzzle. Last but not least, my most favorite one is a Q&A session. Sometimes when I'm doing questions or something that I feel like it's so hard for me to remember, I would write down the question and then I would write down the answer in another color. And now I would have like 10 to 15 minutes of reading and memorizing. You can give that piece of paper to your friends and tell them to question you. You need to get at least 3 correct, and then only you guys can take turns. This is a fun way of remembering what you have learned. When you make learning fun, only then you will enjoy it, only then you will understand and remember what you have learned. Study hard is not enough, study smart. Okay, so that is all for my last minute study tips for you guys. And hopefully I'll be doing another video this month. No promises though. That is all for today. Bye!